Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay guys, what is up? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you do hit the bell as well, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you are interested, check out the AI signal service with Zentrix. I'll post the link to that in the chat. If you're interested, check it out, try out some signals, see how potentially you could use them aligning with your own strategy, your own analysis. You can pick and choose which ones you want to look to follow. There's a bunch of signals there every day across different markets, different time frames. So if you're interested, check it out. But guys, as always, we'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY, of course, USD majors, gold and silver. Any requests, any particular pairs you want me to take a look at, drop it in the chat. And of course, any particular time frames as well you want me to take a look at, let me know. But first thing is first, we'll take a look at the DXY, which is looking interesting. That's about it. To be honest, I'm still looking to buy the dollar. I'm still looking for more upside, but we're seeing signs of momentum failing, which isn't necessarily such a bad thing. It just means we're probably going to need another catalyst to get us going, because at the moment we're lacking momentum to see new highs, and potentially we could see a bit more downside. Now, since we have broken pretty well outside of this bearish channel here, that has been kind of my green light to be bullish on the dollar, because if price was likely to continue falling, I would have expected to see a reaction at the upper end of the channel and perhaps a lower high for a push down, but we didn't see that. Price broke through. We had a strong reaction CPI. Price came back to retest again yesterday. So it's still a bullish market to me, and I still expect more upside, but I can't be looking to follow this. It's very, very corrective on the way up, and there's just not enough momentum for me to buy or really an opportunity worthwhile, at least on the 4-hour chart. So as I said yesterday for the DXY, I need momentum to come back into the market, and then perhaps I can look for some retest, perhaps on that same area for a buy, and that will be the trade I look to take. Well, not necessarily take on the DXY, but maybe a short on euro, short on pound, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, I'm still very bullish on the dollar. I'm still looking for more upside. I'm not getting any red flags for any selling opportunities just yet. Like I said, we are slowing down at the highs, but it doesn't necessarily mean that price is necessarily ready to drop. So looking for some more momentum with the buyers. We'll wait and see if we can get that maybe today or sometime next week. Then sure, I will be more than happy to look for some buys here in the dollar and take it to the upside. But we still got a healthy breakout. We're still expecting more upside. Just, yeah, we are seeing price kind of pause and consolidate at the moment, so I'm kind of stepping back, waiting for a bit more information. As for Euro USD, it's pretty much the same analysis. You can see, again, we had this ascending channel. Price cleared that to the downside. Lovely breakout. You can see price is consolidating there as well. So again, 50-50 right now. Typically, when I want price to break out of a channel or a consolidation, I want to see sustained momentum. I want price to really commit to the direction we're breaking out. And we did see that initially. Very nice, big bearish candle there. But since then, the market's been incredibly flat. And again, same situation as with the DXY, we're finding support, failing to break lower. So I need that momentum to kick in for the bears to show me that, okay, we really mean business, and then I'll be looking for some pullbacks and perhaps a retest of that range, especially if we see a strong move lower, because that will turn into a very nice area of supply consolidation, strong drop to the downside, perhaps a retest and a continuation, and somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern might look to form there, that being the neckline, left head, right shoulder. So I'm still pretty bearish on euro, still pretty bullish on the dollar, but the opportunity is the main thing. Is there an opportunity to take advantage of this bias? Well, at least according to my analysis, no, not quite yet. So waiting for a bit more evidence. I'm not looking to buy either. Euro, like I said, breakout that channel is not really a bullish sign anyway. Maybe if we see a strong break above this counter trend line, maybe I might rethink things. Maybe we might see some upside from then onwards, but I'll need to see a strong break of that trend line anyway. So right now for euro, a little bit in limbo, waiting for a bit more information, waiting for some more momentum. If we can break lower, great. Then I'll look to follow, but at the moment, not really seeing much signs of that. So taking a back seat there with euro. Pound, on the other hand, I'm still pretty bearish on. I'm still looking to short. I don't think price is likely to see more upside. Well, I think we can see more upside. We are still respecting the price swing low, but I do think we will topple out at some point. I'm looking at this area, nice brief area of supply, slight consolidation, strong break lower. I'm looking at a push into this area, a lower high forming, and a push down. And perhaps somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern could end up looking very good. You've got prior resistance over there, which could act as resistance again. So I quite like what I'm seeing with pound USD because there's more momentum of the market. We broke out of this ascending channel a few days back, and we just had a bit more momentum with the breakout, especially with the move to the downside. Euro's been very, very corrective on the way down, so hasn't been looking very attractive to short. But with pound, it's a slightly different situation. More momentum, clean break. I did say I want to see price break through this low. That would improve the confluence and the quality of the trade if we can. I would still look for opportunities to short if we don't. But if we can see price take lows out, then pull back, that would be a very nice setup. But I still like the idea of the short there. Again, looking at somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern and looking to try and call that next lower high for a push down. As for dollar CAD, this one's been a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. We are approaching resistance, not quite there yet. I said for dollar CAD, we've just kind of been stuck between two big levels of resistance and support. I said right now, price wasn't really trading in any area of significance, so I wouldn't be looking to do anything with dollar CAD. We're kind of just correctively ascending in the middle of this range, really. So I said wait for price to get back to highs or back to lows, and then we can look to investigate price. If we are going to be bullish longer term with dollar CAD, then I do want to see price go and break structure to the upside. And then I'll be looking at this as a big double bottom reversal. So that's your first test, that's your second test, your double bottom, that's your neckline. A break of that would tell me, okay, perhaps this bearish trend may be forming a bit of a bottom, and we could be looking at some higher highs, higher lows, and some continuation. And that would be the idea for a long, maybe a retest of the high, but we'll see it take shape as time continues. But that's if we do get a strong break of the high, so a strong break of structure. On the other side of the coin, if price does want to remain bearish, and if this trend still has more steam, more momentum to the downside, then there is a pretty good chance we push back into resistance, don't break, respect it, and perhaps go for another sell. That is also another strong possibility as well. So it's make or break really at that area for me at 1.38. A strong break of that will make me pretty bullish, pullbacks, more upside. If we can respect it well, we could see price actually put a bit of a double top on and continue this trend to the downside. So I can see price doing both things. I'm not going to be so confident with a bias because the DXY is not really showing much momentum. If the DXY was kind of ripping to the upside, breaking out this channel, then yeah, I'll be a lot more confident with the buyers. But we did see a nice breakout, but we just were stalling now, and that could change things as time progresses. So dollar CAD staying a bit flexible, keeping a close eye at that resistance, and probably get some answers. Hopefully probably early next week at this stage. There might be some lower time frame pullbacks to keep an eye on, something like this on the way up. So if you're really trying to find some intraday opportunities, I would say some longs make sense following that corrective trend. But from a swing perspective, just looking to see what we do at resistance. Aussie dollar's been a bit of a pain, to be honest, just back and forth, looking somewhat bullish again. Again, we've been trading quite aggressively inside this channel here. We broke again to the downside, but it looks like price is breaking back above. So it's a tricky situation here with Aussie. Again, I've been pretty clear in terms of what I've been looking for Aussie dollar in terms of opportunities, waiting for price to test the up end of the channel, then looking to short. Reason being, when we do have a corrective market like this, a corrective ascending channel, especially one as corrective as this, most of the time price does break lower. So that's my expectation. And the best way to trade that would be shorting the high, because not only can I trade the length of the channel, but I can also potentially capitalize on the breakout as well and leave positions to run. So that's really where I want to find some entries. At the moment, price broke through, now it's breaking back above, maybe similar to what we did over there as well. Perhaps actually could be some nice buys off the back of that on the retest of the low of the channel. I'm personally not so interested with the buys really with Aussie dollar. I'm also keen with the shorting opportunities, but not really interested, to be honest, with price here. I wasn't looking to short the breakout anyway. Like I said, there might be something like this going on. That might take a couple days to really shape up, but I would suggest keep an eye on that. But this is still the opportunity I'm interested in, and we're quite far away from that as well. So not seeing much there on Aussie. It's a very choppy pair, so I would be careful looking to trade it anyway, especially intraday. New Zealand dollar did end up respecting the low of the channel. I'm not convinced about a big swing with this one. I still think the bigger move is the downside. Likewise with Aussie dollar, I still think price is likely to head lower. Yes, we are respecting the low of the channel. Might be some nice buy opportunities there. We were speaking about this yesterday. I said there might be a nice bounce here, but I do think price will likely still break lower, and that's still my expectation. But of course, I wouldn't be looking to short. As I've said for the past few weeks now, the shorts only make sense at the high of the range. I don't want to do any business in the middle. That's where you're going to run into a bit of chaos, a bit into choppy price action, and you're not going to have a well-placed stop loss either as well. So for New Zealand dollar, I still do expect us to break lower. I do think long term we may still be bullish though, so I'm kind of looking at something like this for New Zealand dollar. But yeah, at the moment we are respecting the channel. There might be some more buying opportunities there. Maybe we come back for another retest. That could be something to look into. But I would say probably have your first targets at the middle of the channel, which is represented with this dotted line there. So around 0.602. I think that would be a smart place to book some profits. Then maybe price reverses, or maybe we do see a swing to the upside. That could be a possibility as well. But as of now, respecting the low, we'll see how that does develop. I still do think we're likely to break lower, but of course, we're not really seeing much evidence of that happening just yet. So we'll see as price develops, but I don't really have an opportunity I'm interested in for New Zealand dollar at the moment. In terms of gold, just back and forth with this one. As I mentioned yesterday, there's two kind of key areas which I'm keeping a close eye on. Really nice support here at 32.50. Very nice support below us here at 31.50. And if price can get to either one of those levels, I'll be happy to look for longs. Again, the larger trend for gold is still very much to the upside, so I'm very much a buyer of gold, or a wannabe buyer of gold. Not interested in selling it, not seeing any red flags for that just yet. All I can see is that we're bullish overall. The market is just a bit flat at the moment, which just may be a bit of a pause in the trend before we do continue to the upside. So I'm still seeing a very bullish market as a whole. Therefore, I'm looking for opportunities to buy, but because we are very flat, I want to make sure I'm buying as low as I can and away from areas of noise, and put my stop loss in relatively safe areas, and that would be underneath a support level like this, or underneath a support level like this. So I'm looking to see if we can get a push back into that 32.60 or that 31.50 area before I do get long. And yeah, the plan is just to see if I can long it back into the highs and maybe some higher highs as well. But it's an extremely flat pair. As I've said, I think intraday on gold looks horrendous. So I'll be very, very careful if I was looking to try and find any intraday opportunities just because of how flat we're looking. But yeah, if we can push back into some strong areas of support, I think that would be a smart place to pick up some longs, even on the lower time frames as well. And then lastly, silver. I quite like silver. Very, very bullish on silver. It looks like it may be bullish without me. I was looking for the retest of the high here. Still am. I still think there's a world where we do come back to retest it. I know we're looking quite bullish now, but we might see like a two-phase pullback. So we've got the first drop, nice push to the upside. Maybe price starts to stall. And we get the second drop, which might come back and retest that level. And that could be the area where we do take some longs, somewhat like a bull flag pattern, if you will. So still going to keep a close eye on that level because there's nothing else to do really. I'm not going to try and buy the market now because I feel like I'm missing out on the move. This is the area which I said I like the look of, fits the plan very well. If price does get there, sees a good reaction, I'll be happy to find some longs. That's still the case, so I'm going to wait to see if we can get that second kind of wave to the downside and perhaps some entries off the back of that. But yeah, in terms of the trend, silver very, very bullish indeed. We've broken out that consolidation. 40 is just above our heads, which is the next big psychological level for silver. I think there's a very good chance that price does test that area pretty soon. So yeah, we'll see if we can get the opportunity there on silver. Otherwise, we might just kind of run away to the upside here. So yeah, there might be some pullbacks intraday if that is the case. But from a swing perspective, this really does look really good. So that's where my focus is for now. So yeah, guys, that's kind of really where I'm at with USD. So we'll have to wait and see that how USD gets on because USD is still somewhat flat at the moment. And welcome to the stream, pound yen. Okay, we'll take a look. Lucy, pound yen. Okay, a lot of requests for pound yen. Okay, we'll take a look at that one. David, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Poppy, welcome. Remember to leave a like. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out, and I do really appreciate it. It does help grow the channel, grows the content, and of course, subscribe to the channel whilst you're at it as well if you are enjoying. That does help out too. But I appreciate it, Poppy. Andreas, good morning. Hope you're well. From Namibia. Wow, wicked. Probably the first person I've seen that said they're from Namibia. So, I mean, maybe not be the first person because not everyone does comment that, but first person that has commented it. So, welcome to the stream, my man. Hope you're well. D-Mark, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Danny, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. Okay, let me go through pound yen since we've got a few requests for that. So pound yen's an interesting one. It looks like we're slowly getting ready for a big breakout, and I do think we will. Euro yen, I feel like is doing what pound yen is doing, but in the future. So euro yen, if we quickly have a look at that one and see how bullish it is, yeah, it's still flying to the upside as we speak. And of course, euro yen and pound yen are very, very similar markets. They do tend to do the same thing most of the times, 8 times out of 10. Pound yen, euro yen are roughly moving in the same way, in the same direction. So you got euro yen with a massive breakout, almost back at those highs there from last year. And then you got pound yen kind of lagging behind quite a lot. But I do feel like we'll probably be at those highs soon enough as well, or heading towards that area anyway. Of course, price has been quite corrective. Haven't seen much momentum for pound yen, which is probably why we are lagging behind euro yen so much. And of course, we've got some resistance to deal with as well, just shy of 200. So I haven't really been a big fan of looking to buy a pound yen just yet because, of course, we've got a brick wall right up against us there. But if we can clear that well, then sure, I like the buys. And of course, next target would be the high here at 207.735. And I'll just be looking for pullbacks along the way. So if pound yen is going to see some more upside, which I feel like is the likely move, I'm looking for a strong break to the upside and then simply the next pullback. Keeping it really simple. Pound yen, in fairness, has been very consistent with these pullbacks here. And the plan is, can we find the next one? Possibly on the retest of that zone. Maybe we have a big breakout and we're looking for a retest of another area. So that could be the situation as well. But in terms of direction for pound yen, I do feel as if we're getting ready for a breakout to push higher. I looked a lot at the yen pairs yesterday. Yen still looks really weak. I feel like we'll see more downside on the yen. I have been looking for a reversal, but it just hasn't shown any signs of that as of late. I'll go take a look at the yen basket quickly. So I've been keeping a close eye on the yen basket. I was looking for price to eventually kind of correct and then push up. But we've just picked up momentum to the downside, and we haven't really seen any signs of anything like this happening. So at this point in time, it does look like the yen is probably going to push back into the lows here. Looking at the 4-hour chart, I think if price can see another pullback, that would be very nice. Maybe come back and retest an area like this. I think that would be a very nice pace for another lower high to form. But in terms of direction, I think the yen is still likely to fall. So if the yen is still likely to fall, that means pound yen is probably likely to push up, of course, as long as the pound isn't insanely weak as well. We probably are going to break to the upside. So going forward with pound yen, bullish bias. I do think we're probably likely to break resistance. Of course, I wouldn't suggest buying the market now. I would say we're likely to break resistance, but at the same time, price may not do that. So I wouldn't recommend looking to buy now, anticipating the breakout. Wait for the breakout, wait for the momentum to enter the market first to show us that, okay, yes, we are bullish, and then we can start talking about some pullbacks afterwards. But yeah, if we do see a successful break, then I'm looking for a pushback to the high. If we don't see a breakout for pound yen, then I'll probably turn bearish if we do end up breaking through this trend line. So if price does start to squeeze here and sees a strong break lower, that's when I would be bearish for pound yen and looking for a lot more downside off the back of that, because then we're breaking through this bullish structure as well, and then yeah, I would be bearish. But even if we do respect resistance now, we might still push down, we might still come back and test the trend line, then go and break through the level. So I'm not necessarily saying price has to break through right now. Price might still want to consolidate for a few more days, but in terms of being bearish, especially longer term with pound yen, I would need to see a strong break of that trend line. Then yeah, I would be bearish. But for now, waiting for something like this to happen over the next few days. But yen pairs in general are starting to look quite interesting. I'm keeping a close eye on a few of them. What's up, Kojo? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm keeping an eye on a few of them. Like I said, Euro yen looks really good. I think Euro yen is my favorite at the moment out of all of them. Pound yen could be a close second if we do see a strong break to the upside as well. But Euro yen, the reason why I like Euro yen so much, excuse me, is because of all the momentum. It's a very commandful move to the upside. It's not like it's kind of half-hearted. Price is really, really broken to the upside here and not looked back at all. So if we can see some meaningful downside for Euro yen, there's a very high chance it's just for a pullback, very high chance just for a higher low for us to keep moving to the upside. So in terms of probability of us pushing to 175, I would say it's very, very high. So if I can get some opportunities on some pullbacks and trade it towards that area, I think from a swing perspective, it's a trade which you can just sit in and have a good confidence that price is likely to hit your targets. Of course, anything can happen, but you want to take trades which you're confident in, and you want to put risk to those trades, of course, knowing that it might not play out, which is why you don't bet your whole account on it. But I do think Euro yen looks really, really good. I marked out a couple of areas which I like the look of. I talked about this consolidation here. Price is still chugging away to the upside. I talked about this area here as well, which price didn't even retest that. So that just shows how bullish Euro yen has been. I talked about this brief consolidation. That could be nice for an intraday buy. We did see a pullback, but just not enough to even retest that area, let alone this area here at 169.5. So it's been a bit difficult to find opportunities for Euro yen, especially as someone who looks for deeper pullbacks in general, which is kind of my forte. And we're kind of just seeing very shallow pullbacks at the moment. I do expect a deep pullback to come at some stage because this is a very stretched move here. And typically the market won't move like that forever. If you look generally, only a very few times have we had very long moves without even this move here. Even this move was quite stretched, but had a couple deep pullbacks over there. Another one over there as well. We had a few bearish days, and of course, then we had a massive pullback at some stage there. So the fact that the market's had this insanely consistent rally, I do think a big pullback is overdue. So be patient for that. Hopefully it will happen before we take out the highs. Then yeah, I'll look to see if I can find some buying opportunities. But for now, looking at 171.5 still. Also still keeping a close eye on 169.5. And thirdly, if we see a massive pullback, we're still keeping a close eye on the retest of this height as well. But the idea is still the same. Still looking for buying opportunities for Euro Yen there as well. Good morning, Yusuf, my man. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I am doing good. Hope you're doing good as well. In terms of some of the other yen pairs, so CAD Yen's looked a little bit better. It's still quite corrective. Not my favorite yen pair to trade. If I do get an opportunity on it. But at this point in time, I'm just looking to see if I can find a opportunity on a yen pair. It might not be necessarily my favorite one, Euro Yen. But if I can find a nice buy on CAD Yen, I'll probably look to take it anyway. Because I'm pretty confident that yen is still going to show signs of weakness. So if I can get into a yen pair, take advantage of what the yen is likely to do next, I'll be happy bunny. Of course, it still has to fit my criteria. I'm not going to jump in just to jump in. It still has to be a good trade on its own merit. But it might not be with Euro Yen. But CAD Yen, I mean, it might not even be with CAD Yen either. But CAD Yen, I like what I'm seeing here. A very corrective uptrend, but recently we picked up some more momentum recently. And I wouldn't mind a pullback for this one. I was originally talking about this consolidation down here. Probably don't see enough of a pullback for us to get there. I like this area. Nice wick there to the downside before starting this run. Might see price pull back into this area, reject well, perhaps test the trend line as well. That can end up being a very smart place for a buy. And see the next wave. I do think at this point in time we're likely to come back and test the high at 110. I was looking earlier in the month for potentially a lower high for a push down, but we just haven't seen evidence of that happening. We've been consistent, breaking to the upside. We broke through a big trend line as well. That was pretty pivotal as well, so that's made me pretty bullish now with CAD Yen. I do think higher prices are likely, so still pretty bullish on CAD Yen. I do think 110 is a likely next target. If the market would be kind enough to pull back, hopefully can find some opportunities to take advantage of that and look for a push back into the high. As for Aussie Yen, I quite like the buys for this one as well. I'm not looking for anything too long term with Aussie Yen because I'm still not too sure if this is a big bearish leg and this perhaps is a pullback of it and we might continue to the downside longer term. I think that's still a possibility. But what I can see over the past few weeks is a pretty nice bullish move here, breaking through highs to our left and creating some bullish structure. So the plan is looking for another pullback for some more upside in terms of where. I quite like the consolidation here. That's where a lot of momentum came from. Lines up pretty well with this trend line. Connecting the dots there. Perhaps we could see another larger pullback just like we did over here. Nice push down, correction, and eventually pushed up. Looking for something similar there for Aussie Yen before continuation. Then yeah, targets back to the high, and I think I would just call it a day there. Just because I'm not too sure what we're working with Aussie Yen. Is it going to be a complete reversal? Is it just a big pullback for a lower high? Not too sure of this one. And to be honest, it's not such a big deal because if I can get a buy from here back into the high there, I'm probably at least looking at like a 1 to 2, 1 to 3, possibly a lot more than that. Which again, if I can get my hands on those type of risk reward ratios, I'll be more than happy. So not necessarily looking for the home run. I may leave positions to run because naturally I do want to do that just in case we have big moves. You never know. But this is really an opportunity which I don't mind. I actually quite like. Like I said, I think Aussie Yen, CAD Yen, even New Zealand Yen are probably more likely to give me bigger pullbacks at this stage than Euro Yen, although they are looking bullish now as well. But Euro Yen's just been flying. If Euro Yen can pull back, great. But I do have other yen pairs which I'll keep an eye on. New Zealand yen is another one. I like this area of support. Lovely wick to the downside, and again, start a nice uptrend. And New Zealand yen has been pretty corrective here. So I'm not really interested in finding opportunities to trade it because, again, when things are as corrective as this, it's normally a strong sign to me that, okay, the trend is running out of steam and perhaps a bigger pullback is on the card. So looking forward with New Zealand yen, I do want to see a bigger pullback. I like this zone here. This is where we had a nice spike to the downside, a really aggressive move. Stopped there briefly, nice rally to the upside. I would like to see if price can get back there again. And this also lines up pretty well with a trend line, connecting the dots here. So first test, second test, looking for the third, a push back to highs, and then higher highs afterwards would be my expectation. So New Zealand yen I like, Aussie yen I like, Euro yen I like as well, CAD yen, GJ, I think I will end up liking this one, but I need to see a break of resistance. Of course, Euro yen I spoke a lot about. I like the look of that one, very bullish on Euro yen. And Swiss yen, of course, this has been very bullish as well, but I'm just not keen on trading it because we're trading at all-time highs. So I don't really have a target to work with. You know, there's nothing here to look at. There's not like a specific level which I'm like, okay, I think Swiss yen has got a good chance of pushing there. You know, I don't have any of that, so I'm not really so intrigued to be trading Swiss yen. Don't get me wrong, it's a very bullish market. I think we'll probably have a nice correction at some point, which might provide some nice longs later on. But I'd rather trade like Euro yen, I'd rather trade pound yen, Aussie, New Zealand CAD, because I've got levels to work with. In this scenario, being at all-time highs, my instincts is normally, watch out for that sell, because after such a big move, after creating all-time highs, all the big players in the market probably are looking to take off their buy positions, and that naturally should give us a bit more of a sell. So I'm always a bit more cautious buying the market at all-time highs, especially in FX. Of course, indices we tend to kind of continue for a while. FX, sometimes we can continue for a while, sometimes we see some really big corrections afterwards. So I'm a bit more kind of hands-off with Swiss yen, but it's still a bullish market. We might still see a lot more upside in the future. Yusuf, doing good. Good to hear, my man. Thoughts on UJ and GJ on the 15. Okay, we can take a look. So with actually I haven't spoken about UJ. I forgot about dollar yen. I'll start with pound yen. I'll take a look at dollar yen after. So let me just clear this. So basically, what I said before is I'm bullish on pound yen. I think we probably do break higher, but we are pushing into some resistance. So the plan really is wait for price to break resistance, and then we can start to talk about some opportunities following pound yen to the upside, because I do think yen's going to remain weak. That should naturally give us more opportunity to the upside. We've got a big level there to target as well, which I think price is likely to get to. So I quite like the buys with pound yen, but of course we are trading at major resistance, so being very, very careful with the buys. So even on the 15-minute chart, I'm not seeing much of an opportunity. I can understand that we are trading at resistance, so sells kind of make sense here. Would I try and take a sell here? No, not really, because the trend is quite up here. It's quite bullish, so I don't think this is the best market to be trying to call some tops on, especially on the 15-minute. Maybe if you're looking for a bit of a scalp, you might be a bit more lucky there because you're only going to be in the trade for a few candles and then you're out of the trade. If you're looking for a bit of a swing here on the 15, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade, trying to call the tops, trying to short the highs. We might get rejection there. Of course, it does line up pretty well with the daily level resistance, so there is some merit there. But again, when I'm on the intraday levels, I'm more so focused on momentum and trading in the direction of momentum, which is still to the upside. So if I'm going to get long here on GJ, I want to see a strong break to the upside, something like this, really breaking to the upside, and also keep an eye on what the 4 hour and what the daily is doing. Are we seeing a strong break of resistance on the daily as well? Is the daily going to give me a nice close above resistance? Is the 4 hour going to give me a nice close above resistance? If I can see that we're backed up with the daily and backed up with the 4 hour, then that gives me the confidence on the 15 to look for pullbacks and some buying opportunities to take it higher. So on the 15 for pound yen, bullish market, still putting in higher lows, great. But we are really stuck at resistance right now. So if we are going to break through this, great. Let's go and do that. And then we can start to talk about some pullbacks. And this could be a fantastic area to look for a breaking retest on. So I'll keep an eye on that. I am bullish. I do think prices are likely to break higher. But we can't be looking to buy into resistance. It's always going to be a difficult game there. Of course, maybe you do get lucky and catch the breakout, but there'll be times where your price does, of course, reverse quite heavily against you, and you look like a donut a little bit. But yeah, I do think there could be some buying opportunities in the near future, maybe sometime next week there for GJ. As for dollar yen, so dollar yen recently broke structure to the upside. We saw a lot of momentum, clearing the highs here. Ooh. There we go, clearing the highs there, clearing the highs here as well. And again, on a higher time frame note, actually, if we go to the weekly, on a higher time frame note, I do think, again, the long-term move for dollar yen might still be to the downside. I'm still looking at these lower highs, one being there, second one being there. I'm looking at this as potentially a big shorting opportunity for dollar yen. I think this is a massive level of resistance. If price can get there, reject well, I think logically that could be a very nice place for a lower high. And then of course you got support there, and then of course you're looking for a big push down. So yeah, going forward with dollar yen long term, I'm looking at some shorts around 152. So keep that in mind. We might be pushing towards that area. So that could be a nice place to target. As for the lower time frames, we've got the break of structure. I did talk about some pullbacks for UJ, but I wasn't expecting such an aggressive move to the downside on Wednesday. I said this could be a nice place for a buy. Yeah, price kind of ripped through that really aggressively, and that's where kind of your price action and your candlestick analysis comes into play, and why I'm not the biggest fan of using kind of just orders and waiting for price to fill an order and then looking for a buy. I always want to see evidence of price respecting a level before I do find a trade entry. And it also helps with stop loss placement. You know, now I know to have my stop losses underneath that low rather than just put it underneath here and hope that price doesn't spike into it. So waiting for price to give you that signal can be a bit of a weapon itself. Of course, there are drawbacks to using candlesticks to get in. Maybe your risk reward isn't as great. Maybe you get into the trade a little bit later. You know, maybe it doesn't quite give you an entry, but it still reacts as well. So there are negatives. As with everything, there's positives with everything. It just depends how you use it. But yeah, really strong kind of volatile behavior a few days ago. I still do think dollar yen can still push up. Like I said, that 152 area is where I do see price pushing towards. So if I'm looking to buy dollar yen now, I would probably wait for us to break outside of this consolidation and wait for another strong move to the upside. So create some more highs and show me that, okay, this trend is still likely to continue. It still looks really healthy. Let's break to the upside. Then, yes, I can start to talk about some pullbacks and some long opportunities on a pullback. Because, yeah, the trend will be healthy again. We're breaking through the highs. Of course, this will be viewed as our last pullback. And this will be like a nice consolidation, which price can come back into, retest, and possibly see some upside from then onwards. But yeah, for dollar yen, I do think we're likely to keep pushing. 152 looks like a likely place where I think price can push in towards. I would say we're quite bullish on the lower time frame, so I would only be looking to buy dollar yen on the 15. But I do need to see some evidence that the trend is still continuing. At the moment, I'm not seeing a clear-cut buy opportunity. Maybe something like this, if you're really looking for an opportunity, a push back into the low of the channel here. It has proven to be very nice support. It could be a nice area to pick up some longs, just even for a reaction to the higher end of the channel. And then you can close a chunk of your profit there, maybe leave a little bit to run just in case we get that breakout. Or you can go for the safer, more kind of trend following attitude, which is wait for the breakout, wait for momentum, wait for evidence that the trend is continuing, and look for the next pullback afterwards. Either which way, looking to buy the market really for dollar yen, and I do expect to see higher prices. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with dollar yen, GJ and the 15. What's up, Ferragams? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Fesu, no, I'm not in any positions. Haven't taken any new positions this week. Nothing's really presented itself to me, unfortunately. I've looked at a lot of the USD pairs. They haven't really developed much, to be honest. Pound has seen a bit more downside, but not quite ready yet to be shorted. We have seen some downside, which is great, but now I need some pullbacks. I've got some areas which I'm looking at. Nothing's quite set up there. Silver was very close to giving me a trade. I still think there might be something there, but we just missed the level yesterday, so a bit unfortunate with that. I still am very bullish. Still think we're likely to run back to highs and even further, but I do need price to come back and retest my level so I can find entries there and hopefully put a stop loss below. But yeah, nothing has quite shaped up for me yet. Yusuf. Okay, thinking of shorting UJ on the 15 to the bottom of the range because 4 hour is bearish. I can see the logic there. I mean, I wouldn't say the 4 hour is bearish. I mean, I can understand in terms of the market structure, we are bearish. We are still seeing lower lows and lower highs, and technically speaking, we haven't really broken major structure yet. That kind of being a last major swing high. Technically, we need to break through that high, but I wouldn't say the 4 hour is bearish for the past, since the end of April, so for the past couple of months. Price has been very, very flat. I wouldn't say it's bullish either, but I wouldn't say it's bearish. I would say we're quite flat. But I can see the logic because we are pushing into resistance here. And, if this fails at the highs, we can definitely roll over. You always have to be a bit careful when you are going a bit more. It's not really counter trend, but if you are looking for reversals on the 15, you have to be a bit more careful. If you are looking for shorts, you have to be quite quick on your feet in terms of the exits because momentum on the 15 is still very much with the buyers. Yes, we could respect highs and could turn around, but momentum does play a big part intraday, so you have to be a bit cautious with that. So I can see the resistance here. I think it does make sense looking to short from that level. But, as soon as price gets back to this kind of area, you probably want to be looking to book profits. And see what price does next. If there's a sign that we're going to bounce, I'll be careful. And of course, if there's signs of breaking out, you can probably hold the position a bit longer. But yeah, 15, the way I see the 50-minute chart, yes, we're kind of trading at resistance. If the higher time frames is going to respect this area, there is room to the downside. But personally, I'd rather wait for evidence of us breaking lower and then look for the next pullback because then I've actually got some bearish structure to follow. I've got a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, and then I can get involved with the lower high, maybe a retest of that range, and that'll be something I look to short for much better risk reward and probably probability of it playing out as well. So from a bearish bias, that's kind of really what I would look for. But again, if you're looking for just a quick short-term trade, something you're in and out within a few candles, then yeah, I can see the logic of looking to short the high there of that range. Not something I would do myself, but if you are looking for a short-term move, I can see the logic there. Ferragams, okay, sold your Aussie, nice. We'll take a look at that one. Almost at take profit. Okay, nice. Doing good. We'll take a look. Fesu bought pound USD on Wednesday. Okay, nice. Planning to swing it back to previous highs. Okay. I'm pretty bearish on pound USD, but I think if you are looking for a continuation back to highs, you're buying at a smart area back at the prior low. And you never know, price might decide to continue bullish and continue back to highs. So there is definitely logic there. I personally do favor more downside for pound. So I'm looking to actually take some shorts, but I think you're buying from a sensible place, to be honest. And then you can, of course, just manage the trade along the way. Things are looking good, momentum's picking up in your favor. You can hold the trade back to highs. If there's some red flags coming to play, heavy rejection, you can always take some partials or even close the trade early. But in terms of the location for the buy, I do agree. Oh, you bought Euro Aussie, not sold. Okay. Morning, Malik. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. Enter the buy in Euro CHF as well. Okay, we'll have a look at that one too. Eden, check Aussie Yen. Yep, we'll take a look as well. Okay, I'll go through Euro Aussie first. And then we'll take a look at pound, Euro Swiss, and Aussie Yen. So Euro Aussie, you said you bought this one, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. 1.7912. TP 1.783. Okay, now you sold this one. Okay, yeah, I'm assuming you sold. Okay. Okay, yeah, sold. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here with Euro Aussie. I wasn't as big a fan of the entry. I want to see a bigger rejection on the 4-hour chart, but it looks like you've probably used a lower time frame to get it, maybe like a 15-minute there, maybe like an hourly chart to get it. But we did come back into a nice consolidation area of supply. Price spent a few hours there before having a pretty impressive dump to the downside. We came back to retest it. Nice wicks there, and eventually price did shift and is starting to look pretty bearish. And I think a take profit there, you're looking pretty good in terms of the likelihood of price getting there. I would say I would be surprised if we didn't, to be honest. I'd be surprised if price was to just turn around, to be honest. So looking pretty good there, I must say, for Euro Aussie. I imagine your stops are probably just above the high here, maybe. So decent risk to rewards, and it looks like price is likely to go and tag that area. So hopefully we go and do that before the end of the day, because it's always a bit annoying if price just misses your take profit and it's going into the weekend, because of course today's Friday. That is always a bit of a pain. I mean, it's not necessarily that much of a pain. You can always just close the trade early. Even if your take profits here and prices like here, yes, you kind of miss out on that extra 10 pips or whatever, but it's still a win at the end of the day, and it's probably better than holding over the weekend and potentially a gap going against you. So you can always just close the position early. But yeah, looking good. Hopefully you can go smash take profit pretty soon. But yeah, lovely rejection off that consolidation. I am pretty bearish long term with Euro Aussie. I think there could be a big swing here. Yeah, I think the trade idea you had there makes a load of sense. So in terms of pound USD, like I said, I am bearish on the pair. I'm looking for some counter trend setups. We have pulled back into a nice level of support, so I can see the logic in looking for buys there, back at a nice area. You can see we spent a few days here before a strong push to the upside, and of course price is back there again. So the buys do make sense off that low, but I do think the bigger move is to the downside for pound USD. We've taken out some big highs to our left. I think the market is quite stretched, and I do feel like we're probably likely to have a bit of a sell-off. So that's kind of reason. That's the reason why I'm looking for shorting opportunities, because I'm anticipating a bit of a counter trend move, a bit of a breather. Perhaps the bigger move is still to the upside, but since we've had a big push down, we've broken out outside of this ascending channel. That's kind of been the signal to me that maybe the buyers are running out of steam. But In terms of the location, I agree with it. You're coming back to a big low. Of course, this low gave us the high, so I think that makes a lot of sense. I think just keep tabs on the trade. You know, with every new candlestick, there's more information coming into the market. The buy makes a lot of sense here. We've seen some healthy rejection, but you are looking for a pretty big swing. If I was to measure it in pips from the low to the high, you're looking about almost 400 pips, or 400 pips really, on pound USD, which is a pretty big move in itself. So it's a trade where you want to keep tabs on, see how price is moving. If momentum's sticking with you, hold the trade back to highs. If you're getting some red flags, maybe some rejection at some point, don't be afraid to lock in some gains and maybe try to stop. Even if you get a move halfway, you're probably still looking at decent returns there. So, closing it halfway through the leg is not such a bad idea if you're seeing signs to. If of course momentum's looking good, then you can hold it all the way back to highs. But yeah, I think it's a nice place for a buy, but I'm not convinced about the trend anymore for pound USD. To me, it does look like it's kind of running out of steam. I do feel like there's a bit of room to the downside there. So I'm not as keen for the buys at the moment. Okay, so we'll take a look at Euro CHF for Faragams. We'll take a look at Aussie Yen as well. Yusuf, no problem, happy to help. Gold on 15, okay. It did have a volatile move. That's gold for you sometimes. Still not a big fan of gold on the 15, but I'll go through it for you. Euro CHF. So with this one, we are looking somewhat bullish, you could say. I wouldn't say it's setting the world alight in terms of the bullish momentum, but Euro CHF is doing a fairly good job at respecting the lows here. At the end of the day, we did have pretty much a range here for Euro CHF. We pushed the low end of the range. Price respected the low end of the range pretty well. And if everything does go well, we could probably see a swing to the upper end. So just keeping it very, very simple with Euro CHF. Long term, I am pretty bullish with this currency pair. Reason being, I'm looking at the higher time frames. I'm looking at all the rejection we've seen at the lows here. Price created support, tested it again, tested it again, tested it again. So we had numerous attempts trying to break through support here, and each one of them failing at breaking through support. I do think we are forming a bit of a bottom here, and maybe long term we are going to push up. Now, that long term bias could take a few months to play out, so we're not too concerned about this big move here, unless you're looking to hold a trade from now until potentially the end of the year. So we're not too concerned about that. But what we can say is that, okay, buyers are doing a good job at holding support. So maybe price does hold the range low here, and maybe we do see a push back to the up end of the channel. I would say keep an eye on the 50%, which is around, well, I can always just use the fib. Keep an eye on the 50%, well, almost bang on the money there. I think this is a good, healthy first target. If you are looking to buy the low of the range, you did give your entry, didn't you? 0.9306. 306. So yeah, it's roughly around here somewhere. And take profits 93650. Okay, it's pretty much bang on that 50% area. So yeah, I like the look of it, to be honest. Not too far away from targets. Probably won't hit today. It's probably a situation where you're holding over the weekend, which again is not a bad thing. I think maybe watch out with Euro CHF, because it is one of those minor currency pairs which spreads can widen quite a lot coming into a new trading day. And if you do have your stop loss, let's say, trail to break even here, it could be a world where even if you do have a slight gap to the downside, because of how large the spreads will be, it might even trigger your position. So be a bit watchful of that, especially with the shorts as well. But yeah, in terms of the technicals, looking good. You respected the low of the channel very well, so keeping it very simple. I like the way we spiked through the low as well, so that would done a good job at grabbing liquidity. Now potentially we're seeing the fruits of that now. So yeah, I think a push into the 50%, not necessarily looking for the home run, but 50% is always an area which you can be quite confident that price does get to. If you do successfully reject the low or the high of the range, 50% is always an area which you can be pretty confident price gets there. Whether we see the full swing, that's a different question. But yeah, I would suggest targets make a lot of sense there. And as for Aussie yen, so I mentioned Aussie yen early in the video. I'm pretty bullish on this one, at least for now anyway. I'm not too sure about my longer term bias. I can kind of see a world where we've had a big sell-off and potentially this is a pullback for another big sell-off. So I can see a world where that happens. I can see a world where we reverse back to resistance as well. So I'm not too sure about my longer term bias. I need to kind of wait for a bit more information. But in terms of my bias for the next kind of week or two, I quite like this uptrend. I like the fact that we've broken through structure on our left here. And we are seeing a newfound kind of bullish trend with this bullish structure. So the plan is, can we see the next pullback? I've got a nice area here of confluence, trend line running through the market. There's a nice consolidation here, which we spent quite a few days in before eventually had a really nice break to the upside. So I would suggest if the price can pull back, come back to retest this area, that would be a smart place for a buy. And I would expect to push back into resistance, and we'll see how far we go on after that. But Aussie yen, pretty bullish, waiting for a pullback. Of course, we are very bullish right now, but I wouldn't be looking to go and chase things. Let price do what it wants to do. I'm looking for that discount, that valuable opportunity on a pullback to see some more upside. Right now, nothing is really fitting the bill. But yeah, if you see a pullback into 94.5, I think that could be a very smart place for a buy. So hopefully that made sense, Eden, for Aussie yen. In terms of gold on the 15, so yeah, gold has been a bit chaotic, Yusuf. Like I said, I haven't been a big fan of on gold on the 15, probably for the past week now. Very, very choppy behavior. We did see a lot of momentum, but price didn't really sustain a breakout. Now pushing back up. I would still argue that this structure is quite bearish. So I still would expect to push lower. I probably would wait for a push back to the high here before looking for opportunities, really. And again, it's more of like a short-term trade I'll look for. I wouldn't look for a sustained move for gold because, again, as I keep saying, the market's very flat. There's no consistent market structure. There's no consistent trend. There's no consistent momentum to it. Yes, higher time frames, we are bullish, but on the 15, we can shop around for a while before that higher time frame trend does continue. So I'll keep it short and sweet. I think this is a nice place for a short. It held very well over there, held very well over there. I think there's a likely chance that we get there again and respect it. It might just be a pullback for us to be bullish long term, maybe, or maybe we collapse completely to the downside. I don't really have a clear-cut bias here on the intraday level for gold. As I've been saying, with the higher time frames, especially the 4-hour chart, I like the bias with this one. I do think we can see a lot more upside here. I do feel like a push back into these areas will be smart places to buy away from the noise. You can get your stop losses in some safe areas and still take advantage of that continuation. And of course, targets back to the all-time highs. But inside of here is just pure noise, really. I think, yes, there might be some very short-term opportunities. And by that, I mean trades where you're in and out. You're not trying to stay for too long. Probably the length of a session and call it a day. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of gold whatsoever, to be honest, on an intraday level. I think silver looks a lot better on intraday level because there's more momentum with that one. So there's a clear trend and it makes a lot more sense to be looking for opportunities on this one. I actually quite like the bias here for silver. Looks like we've put in a bit of a triple bottom there. We smashed through the highs over here. So I would suggest if we're to come back and retest anywhere within this range, I think that'll be a very smart place for a buy for silver. Pull back, a higher low, and then off we go on our next wave, and then push back to highs makes a lot more sense. This looks like an opportunity which there's some sense to. You've got consistency with the trend, you've got momentum in the market. It looks like price is putting a higher low, we're breaking to the upside, taking out highs as well. Looking for a pullback, the next higher low, and then some more upside. So that makes sense. Gold, I'm not seeing any of that behavior. So really, I would stay away from gold. Not my forte. And again, a big part of trading is recognizing when it's time to trade and when it's not time to trade. You could take one good trade, but then you take 5 low quality setups, and that could do all the good work that that one good trade took. And I'm not necessarily saying one good trade is you made a big profit or a big return. I'm just saying one good trade in terms of the quality, in terms of the criteria, in terms of the setup, in terms of the entry, in terms of the stop loss, the targets, all of that looked good at the time of you taking the position. It could even be a loser. But if you're taking good trades here and there, but then you're taking 5 poor trades, overall, majority of trades are going to be poor. For every one good trade you take 5 poor. That's going to really crush your equity curve in the long term. And then you kind of feel like you're stuck. And if you could just get rid of those poor trades and keep the good ones, you do so much better for it. And that's kind of where the less is more situation comes into play. But yeah, when things are not looking good, when structure's not looking good, again, don't feel like you're obliged to understand what the market's doing next and what the likely move is next. Of course, we have that natural tendency of wanting to trade, wanting to get involved, which is fine, but you need to keep that in check, because that could spill over and you end up taking some nonsense trades just because you feel like you should be in a trade. And I feel like the price action of gold, especially intraday, I feel like a lot of people would just be kind of getting chopped up and losing a bunch of profits in here unnecessarily. Because I would expect kind of a lot of people to have maybe some really successful periods in gold in terms of buying these opportunities here, seeing all this momentum, because you got a kind of clear trend there, momentum's in your favor, looking to either buy breakouts or buy the dips on this. So you can maneuver this market a lot easier than you can maneuver this market here. So all the people making a bunch of profits in here, probably giving them back some nice gains right now here. When the smart move would to be is, take advantage of the opportunities there. And as you start to recognize that we are a bit more flat now, conditions are changing, now it's time to pause or switch strategy, switch approach. If you have an approach for choppy markets, then that's when you start to deploy your choppy market strategy. Or if you're just purely looking to follow a trend, follow momentum, you stay away, you go maybe look at other markets. Or if you only trade gold, wait for gold to start trending again. And it will. Eventually we'll start looking to trend again. Might be next week, might be a week after, might be sometime in August. We have no idea. But it will come back to trending again, even if it's trending to the downside as well. There'll be opportunities there too. But at the moment, we're very flat. So in terms of my kind of take on gold, I'm just looking to buy low with these areas, away from the noise, and that's where I want to get involved. Everywhere else, very, very clouded and very, very choppy. So staying away personally. But I do like the long-term move, but I feel like we also have to wait for dollar to clear up as well. I feel like when dollar kind of clears up, gold will probably clear up as well. Dollar, I'm still bullish bias. I still think prices are likely to break high and see a lot more upside, but we are running into a bit of trouble at the moment and we are pretty flat here. So it's kind of like, okay, what is price going to do next? We do need to pick up some momentum at some stage. Maybe we're just going to consolidate for a few days before we break out. If that's the case, that's great, because if we can break out, maybe even take out resistance here as well, that will make it such a higher quality opportunity, the buys on the DXY, because not only has price broken out this channel, but we've also taken up these highs as well. And once that happens, maybe we see a bit more activity in gold. Of course, that might not be a bullish situation for gold, because if the DXY is heading up, normally gold does push down, but sometimes their correlation does go out the window completely. Sometimes it's inverse, sometimes it's actually positive. So you have to be a bit careful with that. But in terms of the dollar, it has been quite flat this week. Yes, moments of momentum, but most of the time it's been quite flat. So if we can get that big breakout, that'd be great, and that'll probably open up the opportunities for euro on some shorts, which is pretty much doing the same thing. Pound USD on some shorts as well, which I'm quite liking, but not quite here yet. This is really the opportunity. So in terms of my watch list, it's not stacked. There's not a lot of opportunities which I'm excited to trade really, or at least which are set at the moment. Pound USD, as I said all week, I quite like the look of this one. Pullbacks into this area, I think, are some very nice opportunities. Possibly looking at a I'd say head and shoulder pattern. You got the left shoulder over there, you got the head, possible right shoulder, and from there a big sell-off. Euro USD, as I mentioned with this one as well, pretty much the same opportunity, looking for a push down, a pullback, lower high continuation. Again, we're looking at a head and shoulder there, left head, right shoulder, looking for a bit of a sell there as well. So out of the USD pairs, those are only the two I quite like. Maybe dollar CHF as well, but I need a lot more momentum there. The reason why I like dollar CHF, it looks similar to euro, similar to pound. We've got this descending channel here. Your price is testing the upper end of the channel. If I can see a break of this to the upside, then we've got something similar to what we had with euro. Break of the channel, pullback, maybe a retest of this brief consolidation, brief range. And that could end up being a very nice buy going into the near future, and looking for a bit of a counter trend move. Don't get me wrong, dollar CHF is still very much a bearish market. So it might be a situation where it's just another pullback before we do keep falling. I'm not looking to hold on for a crazy move here. But I do like the buys if we can break to the upside and come back for a retest on that same area. And hopefully I can look to long on a retest, or even potentially a retest of this low here as well. This has proven to be a very sturdy level of support. And actually lines up pretty well with that area there too. So nice confidence for that idea. So dollar CHF, I'll keep an eye on. I like pound and euro a little bit more, but we'll see. Maybe dollar CHF also looks good. Of course, on the other side of the coin, price very much could respect resistance and continue falling. But I'm not so concerned with keep shorting dollar CHF. It's already been falling all year. It's quite stretched. Yeah, I've talked a lot about this kind of situation with swing trading. You don't want to be looking to get into a market which is already falling a ton, because the opportunity is likely gone. Yes, we can always fall a little bit further. As a swing trader, the whole idea is to get in before the swing has started. So if the market has already fallen a bunch, it's quite overextended, it's showing signs of fatiguing, that's not a market you want to keep selling. Day trading, different. You can always take small opportunities with day trading. The whole point of day trading is to be in and out within the day. So you're not there to hold on through the bigger pullbacks. You're not there to hold on through the noise. You're there to take your piece of the pie and run sort of situation. With swing trading, you're kind of more invested in a position, and you want to kind of sit through the noise, sit through the messy price action, because you expect the bigger move to be in your favor. So you're looking to hold on through the noise and hold through the bigger pullback. And the whole point of swing trading is that you're in before the move has happened. You're in before the opportunity has happened. So if you've already seen a big move in the market, a big downtrend, a big uptrend, especially in FX, you kind of want to just sit back and wait for either a much bigger pullback to keep following the trend, or wait for counter trend opportunities to go against it. Looking to keep shorting, not really the best bet, because you'll find yourself in situations where the trends continue for a while. You get into a nice pullback, and then something like this probably does happen. So you have to be a bit careful. But yeah, dollar CHF could be something I'll look into, but it's going to be in between dollar CHF, euro USD, and pound. All very similar opportunities. What's up, Papaya? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Danny. Oh, okay. I was going to say, and nasty, what is that? But Naz, okay, I'll take a look at silver. And Naz, no problem. CS Integrated, my man, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. What do you think of the DXY now? Good question. DXY has been a little bit, I still think there's room to the upside, but I'll go through it in a bit more detail. In terms of silver and Naz, we'll take a look now. No problem, Yusuf, happy to help. So in terms of silver, pretty bullish with this one. I was talking about some lower time frame opportunities there, but in terms of what I'm looking at for silver, I'm looking for the retest of this lovely level here at 37.26. I'm waiting to see if we can get a retest of that area and some longs off the back of that. the way I look at silver, it's a very, very bullish market. So the only thing I want to be doing is buying. We just recently had a breakout of this as well, and we had a new injection of life back into the market. And I think there is a lot of catching up to do with silver in comparison to gold. If I go to the weekly chart, I feel like silver is still likely to go and smash into all-time highs, and we're still kind of a long way away from that. So I think there's still a long way to go for this trend, and we are still seeing healthy behavior, healthy trend. So it's still giving me the green light to be looking for pullbacks and getting involved. And I've just been looking for the retest of this level all week. Unfortunately, just missed that. So I will still keep an eye on, because I'm not prepared just to jump into a trade. Don't really have a logical place for a stop loss. The whole idea was to see if I can get a stop loss underneath this level and find some entries around this area. So I'm still waiting to see if we can get that. As for a more intraday point of view, I feel like there might be some opportunities on a pullback and a continuation if we don't get the bigger pullback there. The way I see it, price has kind of formed a bit of like a triple bottom here. We test the lows once, a second time, and a third time. So it does look like we formed some very significant support here. Then recently we're just going to break through these highs. So I would suggest if we can pull back another higher low, that could end up being a very nice buy in the 15. At least a push back into this high, but I would be expecting a push back to that high there, 39.1. So silver, it depends what you're looking at. You're looking at more of an intraday pullback. Well, I think that looks good. Nice triple bottom there, break of structure. Looking for a higher low, then continuation. If you're looking for a bigger swing, you've got some levels there to keep an eye on. But whichever way, only looking to buy for silver. In terms of NAS, I'd say just keep looking to buy this one as well on an intraday bias. I think the swing opportunity, of course, has gone. Your price has made new all-time highs. We've already seen some big swings to the upside. We're seeing signs that the market is starting to tie with how corrective it's looking. So I don't think the big buys are something to look into. I think if you're waiting for that, you want to see a bit of a relief first, a bit of a counter trend move, maybe to come back and retest some areas like this, and then we can start talking about some big swing trades again. And of course, the funny thing with the NAS and indices in general, it's always difficult to predict when that pullback could happen. Could happen now. We might still chug away for a bit before it does happen, maybe next week, maybe this time next month. So it's always quite difficult to predict when we do pull back, but I am expecting to see a pullback. The market's made all-time highs. If you look at the history of NAS, every time it does sweep the highs, it continues for a little bit, then it retraces, continues for a little bit, then it retraces, continues for a little bit. Well, it's actually quite a big bit, but then it does retrace. So we are going to get one of these moves at some point in time. How big and when, we will never know the answer to that truly until it does happen. But in the meantime, what we can say is that we are slowly just chugging away to the upside. So if we are looking for opportunities, I would drop right down to the lower time frames, and the goal would be trying to find some of these higher lows to get involved with and trade. Now that we've created new highs, now it's kind of okay, step back a bit. Let's wait for another pullback. I quite like this area here. Nice brief pause in the market, strong up move. This could be a nice area for a buy, and possibly the next up move for NAS back to highs, and then we'll probably call it a day there as well. Wait for the next cycle, and we're basically just waiting for price to eventually go through that sell-off, to be honest. And then that's when we can talk about some higher time frame swing opportunities. But for now, NAS still grinding higher. We just made new all-time highs again, so you're waiting for another pullback. And I'll say this looks like a more appropriate place to long. I also like the low here as well. I think that could be a nice place for a buy if we have a much deeper pullback than expected. But yeah, NAS just looking at higher prices really. And if we do get a bigger pullback, then yeah, maybe something like this or even a retest of the high, we can look at those areas. But again, when that's going to happen, difficult to say. Excuse me. Okay, so next up, we'll go through the DXY for CS integrated. We'll take a look at that. What's up, Fields? Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome, welcome. CS integrated, still holding last position. Okay, nice. Reopened some position yesterday and hold it okay. Managed to grab some profits and re-enter. Cool. So really taking advantage of that. So I still gather that you still have a bullish bias in the dollar. Then you're still looking for more upside in the DXY. I am as well. We can take a look at that now. It's just a bit awkward. We are finding resistance at the moment. We're kind of consolidating a little bit. So it looks to me that the dollar is trapped to a degree. Of course, we had some funky wicks early this week, but for the most part, we have been quite flat since the big breakout of CPI, which was on Tuesday. The market's been incredibly flat. So with the dollar, since we've of course had the break of the descending channel, I've been looking for a lot more upside. So I am pretty bullish on the dollar. I think a lot more upside is due. But what I'm waiting for now in terms of an opportunity, because as a whole, we have been very corrective to the upside. So there hasn't been anything on the full hour which has really got me excited about any buys apart from the break of the channel, really. So kind of waiting for momentum to pick up before I do look for pullbacks and some entries. And what would be nice would be a break of this high, then some pullbacks for continuation. I think that's where you said you're looking to target anyway. So I still think we are likely to get there. The way I see it, we're kind of just flat right now. We'll probably move back and forth. It is Friday today, so maybe we don't see anything too crazy until next week now. But since we've had a strong break of the channel, I do expect us to break high. So I'm still bullish on the dollar, still looking for more upside. I still think we can get to that resistance, which I'm pretty sure is where your targets are based at. So I think it's still good there. As long as we don't do anything crazy, like a strong break of this to the downside, like a strong 4-hour candle, that would be maybe a bit of a red flag there. As long as we can maybe form some wicks, slow down here, I do feel like we're likely to break higher. So pairs like Euro USD, I still am favoring more downside. But same logic applies here. We've got a bit of a consolidation there. I'm kind of waiting for us to pick up pace to the downside, then pull back and continue. We do have a nice counter trend line there. I think if that breaks, that's a bit of a red flag there for Euro. That could be the catalyst for a lot more upside. So we don't really want to see price break above that trend line. Pound USD as well, I think we're likely to keep falling as well. But for the most part, we are respecting support at the moment. So that might give us a bit of a relief, a bit of a rally before maybe we do continue later on. So be prepared for that as well. I think you said you're in Aussie dollar as well. Aussie just looks really awkward. We broke to the downside and we broke back above the channel as well. So it's very awkward. I've just been looking for shorts at the up end of the channel. Hasn't provided me that opportunity yet. So I've been on the sidelines. We might see price break above, retest and continue higher with this fake out again. So I think Aussie dollar is just a bit of a hectic one, to be honest. Difficult to really find a clear-cut trade at the moment. And New Zealand dollar came back into the low of the channel. We've bounced there. Maybe we do see a bit more relief there. I still do think New Zealand dollar's bigger move is likely to be to the downside. But maybe we do see a bit of a bounce first before that happens. We are respecting the low of the channel pretty well. So USD is a bit awkward right now. I'm still favoring more strength with the dollar. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's smooth necessarily. Fields, check golds, it's still valid. I mean, I haven't really been talking about. I mean, I did suggest in the lower time frames there might be a sell there for gold at this level here, but I'm not a big fan of gold on the 50 in the lower time frames. I think it's just a very choppy market. So really, I wouldn't be looking to trade gold personally. I still am quite. I still like the buys on the higher time frames. I like the retest of a long here at 32.50. I like the buys here at 31.50 for a long-term swing trade. Looking at the higher time frame trend, it's still very bullish. So naturally, I still want to be a buyer of the market. But because we are so flat and so choppy, I want to make sure that I'm away from all the noise and buying as low as possible. And those two areas would kind of fit that bias. We've had two really strong rejections. This is where the bulk of the noise is, or the choppy behavior is. If I can find some entries there, some stops there, or entries here and stops there, that puts me kind of away from the noise and a more of a safer area to trade gold. Intraday, I'm just not a big fan. I think it's really choppy. If you're looking to trade it, I'll keep it short and sweet with the trades. I wouldn't look for a big swing trade, because the reality is you might get into a trade, things go well for a while, and then boom, it probably just goes against you. Not necessarily in terms of you're in the wrong direction, but because of the choppy behavior, you might be in a situation where price does go for you, but because it's so choppy, it does revert, maybe takes you out of break even, then continues, and then maybe has another big pullback. That's just the behavior of the market right now. So any big move is always a difficult thing to capitalize on because of how we're moving, not necessarily that you're in the wrong direction. I did suggest early in the stream that this is a smart place for a sell, 33.64, especially in the 15. But again, the idea is if we get there, respect it, just looking for a bit of a bounce and call it a day, not looking for anything too big. If you are, I would highly advise trading stops pretty tightly just to kind of protect yourself against a possible reversal. But yeah, I'm not seeing a clean opportunity or a good opportunity really intraday for gold. It's just way too choppy. Okay, so next, what's up, follow the trend, welcome to the stream, happy Friday/weekend, right back at you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Be wondering if you feel some sells over the weekend on JPY pairs with some red folder news. What's your opinion being a technical trader? Is that like a separate question? Or was that part of the yen idea? In terms of my opinion, a technical trader, that's a separate question. I mean, I am a technical trader, so I have a pretty positive opinion about it. I just suggest if you're going to be a technical trader, you have to be very disciplined and very disciplined and very flexible as well, because of course you're relying purely on patterns and history repeating itself, and experience as well. You're relying a lot of those kind of fundamental aspects, whereas of course fundamental traders are more relying upon, they're expecting, okay, this economy to outperform this economy, expecting for some reason people to buy a lot of euro, or investors to put a lot of money in euro, maybe take money out the dollar, therefore euro dollar should go up, therefore they're looking for opportunities to buy it. So there's a bit more kind of reasoning with fundamentals, whereas technicals you're more so just going with, okay, price tends to do this in this scenario, so if I see this scenario happen again, I'm going to bet on that happening again. And you have to be quite consistent with that and quite flexible as well, because technicals is not always black and white, it's a bit more gray. So you have to be able to adapt the situation, and that's where experience comes into play. So I think technical traders is great. I think it's actually a little bit easier than fundamental as well, to be honest. But yeah, it does take time, and it's not something that you'll get overnight. In terms of the yen pairs, I'll go through that in a moment. I'm not really looking to short the yen pairs really. What's up, Paz Forex Exchange? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. CC integrated, bullish fundamentally, but currently technical is neutral because, okay, fairs, there are some strong bullish impulse spikes compared to that. Okay, yeah, I agree as well. I think technically it looks a little bit flat, a little bit chaotic at the moment. I still think there's room to the upside for the dollar, but I'm not really seeing evidence of that really coming into play. Yes, we had the break of the channel, there's some momentum behind that, but now we're just quite flat, and it can be like 50-50 which way we go next, to be honest. So as a technical trader, I'm waiting for some more momentum. I'm waiting for some more evidence that dollar is truly bullish, because this move here has been very corrective as well. It's not like we've flown to the upside aggressively. It's not like we've seen an aggressive breakout, an aggressive up move. For the most part, it's been very corrective on the way up. So especially if I'm going to go against this trend here, which has been down for quite a while, I need to wait for a bit more evidence that taking some buys is the best move for me to take. Like I said, I'm not really attracted to the sells because of how tired we're looking. So it's either I'm just going to stay neutral and stay out the market, or I'm looking for buys. And right now I need a bit more evidence before I do look to take some trades and look for some buys in the dollar, maybe some sells on euro, some sells on pound. So that's really what I'm waiting for. Campbell, good morning, my man. I hope you're well. Top of the morning. Hope you're doing good. All is well. Thank you. Hope everything is doing good with you as well. Nowadays keeps the liquidity away 100%, and you get that. In the background. Have that underneath the time frame there. Just a little slogan. With, of course, credits to you, Campbell. Yeah, sure, okay. I'll keep the patterns in mind. I'll make sure I kind of say them out. Fields, no problem. Happy to help. Appreciate it so much. Glad it helps. I'm glad the stream's helpful and you're finding it educational. That is music to my ears. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Of course, hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Actually, we'll be live again later today as well on Trading X channel. I think he's away. So I'm doing a little covering job on his channel. I think some other traders are there as well. So a bit of a show there this afternoon. So if you do want to see more of me, I will be live on his channel. I think about an hour and a half from now. So head over to his channel later this afternoon if you guys are free. But anyway, we'll take a look at. I forgot which pair I was going to look at next. Okay, JPY pairs follow the trend. If I have missed out a pair, let me know. If someone has requested something, but I just haven't looked at it yet, it's probably I've forgotten about it. So just drop it in the chat again. I'll go through some of the yen pairs next. So in terms of the yen pairs, I have just been looking for, well, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. Euro yen I've been very bullish on since the breakout. It just hasn't given me an opportunity to buy. I do understand what you mean in terms of sales for the yen pairs because a lot of them are quite stretched. A lot of them are quite extended, and there probably is some downsides here because they're not going to be bullish forever. So there could be some reversal or counter trend opportunities to the downside to take advantage of. But the way I see it, especially for like a pair like Euro Yen, we'll take a look at some others in a moment. But because we've had such a great breakout to the upside, there's so much momentum, the odds of price returning back to this high is pretty high. So therefore, I'm not really interested in shorting because that's where I expect price to get to. So let me just buy the market or at least focus on buying. I'm not going to buy it randomly, but focus on buying the market. So if I do get a good opportunity to buy it, I'm not going to turn it down. It's going to be a situation where I just sit in the trade and hopefully take it back to highs, really. Of course, I'll be managing it along the way. But I'll be trying to be a bit aggressive with the targets. So Euro Yen, yes, I do expect to move down, but I'd rather wait for that move down to happen and then focus on the buys. Of course, you could say, well, why don't you sell it down and then buy it back up again? Well, my edge is not really in the sell. My edge is in the buy. So I'm going to focus on the buy because that's where my edge is going to lie. My edge is the fact that there's a lot of momentum in the market to the upside and there's a strong likelihood that price is going to get there. That's my edge. Then, of course, I'm waiting for entries and confidence to actually enter the market. But the reason why I expect price to go to the upside is the reason why I want to get into a trade. The pullback is just a maybe. We might pull back, we might keep pushing. Yes, the market's overextended, but we might test resistance first before we pull back. So I'm not going to necessarily bank on that happening. But if we do pull back, I'll bank on the continuation of that pullback. That's something where my interest is focused to. So I'm waiting for the pullback on Euro Yen. Yes, I do expect a pullback to happen, but I'm not looking to trade. That's not where my edge lies. My edge lies in the continuation of the pullback. So that's what I'm waiting for. I think GJ's got room to the upside as well. I feel like GJ is going to probably do something similar to what Euro Yen is doing. Of course, Euro is broken through resistance. It's like it's going to push back into the high over here. I think Pound Yen is probably going to do the same in due course. But of course, right now we're still smashing into resistance. So we've got to be patient. But if I can see Pound Yen break to the upside with some nice momentum, then yeah, I'll be looking for some pullbacks for this one and some buys as well. So not interested with selling Pound Yen, only focus with the buys. CAD Yen at this moment in time looking pretty bullish. I think we can see more upside with CAD Yen as well. I'm looking for a push back into the high over there. We've been very corrective on the way down, corrective on the way up as well. There's just generally a lack of momentum with this one. But I was looking for a low high to form here for a push down, but that never was the case. price kept breaking the highs, and now I don't see price selling off anymore. We're breaking through this trend line here as well, which again, trend lines are not the be all or end all, but they are good signs to tell you what is more likely to happen, whether if they're respected or broken through. The fact that we've broken through again, that shows a bit more confidence to the buyers as well. So I do see CAD Yen continuing to the upside. There are a couple of areas in which I'm interested for some buys. I like the look of 106.928. That looks like a nice area for a buy for me. I also like this area here if we were to have a very deep pullback, maybe a more aggressive one. I like the opportunity there. This was the low after all, which sent us on our way to the upside. So I wouldn't mind a retest of that area, but I'm very bullish on CAD Yen, looking for us to push back to 110 into that high. As for Aussie Yen and New Zealand Yen, again, I'm expecting bigger pullbacks for these two, but I'd rather just focus with the buys for now. Again, I'm not too sure about the longer term move with Aussie Yen. I'm still looking at this as a big bearish leg, and perhaps this could be a pullback for more downside, so I'm well aware of that. But in terms of the more immediate price action, which is this bearish structure here, which has since turned bullish, I'm quite focused on the buys here. Then maybe we do turn around. But if I can have a nice corrective pullback, a nice pullback into an area like this, I'm happy for some longs and targets back at the high at 97.429. And then we'll go from there with Aussie Yen. But again, focus on the buys with this one, not trying to capitalize on the pullback. The pullback might not even happen as well. We might just continue flying. That could be the case. So I'm just going to wait for the pullback and keep an eye on that. New Zealand Yen, same situation here as well. Again, expecting a pullback. We've been very, very corrective on the way up here. So again, looking for a pullback back into this trend line here. We've got some nice area of confluence here with this area of demand. Very strong push to the upside. Looking for us to test this area. And then again, looking for more upside there as well. But not looking for anything too crazy. For me, it's just a very kind of corrective market in general. So it's not my favorite yen pair to trade, but another yen pair which I'm more interested in the buys rather than the sells. So, yeah, yen pairs, not trying to sell, more focused on trying to buy. Campbell, Mr. Where can I catch you in the afternoon? On Nick's channel. It's not on my channel. Yeah, so if you just search Trader Nick on YouTube, it should come up, and there's probably already like a stream there already. But yeah, it's on his channel, and I'm pretty sure he leaves his streams up as well. So if you do miss it, you can always watch it back. So yeah, I just remembered I forgot to mention the patterns there. I'll quickly go through that, but yeah, most of the patterns I'm looking at here are more so the consolidation patterns, which are pattern 6, looking for price to retest consolidation and looking for a continuation after that. So here, Euro Yen consolidation, looking for a pullback and a continuation. GJ, this is just a simple break and retest. So this is pattern 1 here. So price can break through the high here, looking for a clean breakout, retest, continuation. Of course, pound yen hasn't really set up yet, so it might be a different pattern, but just looking for the break and retest of the high. What other yen pair we were looking at? Aussie Yen, that's pattern 6 as well. Retest the consolidation, area of demand, same thing. Looking for the retest of that and a continuation. New Zealand Yen's more of a variation of pattern 6, not really consolidations. It's purely an area of demand, but it's an area where we see a lot of momentum come through, a lot of strength on a push to the upside. I didn't really cover this on the course, but I'll probably create some more content around these patterns in the future. But it's more of a variation of that pattern, but same situation, coming to an area where a strong push has come from previously, back into that same area for a buy. And CAD Yen, same situation there as well. Coming to an area where, again, a strong push for a buy, pattern 6 as well, looking for the retest of that level. And you've got some nice trendline confluence running through the market with these higher lows. So that's really what I'm waiting for. Nazir, please do not spam the chat. Thank you. Just one message will do the job. If you do spam the chat, I will have to remove you. No problem, Dmar. Have a great weekend, my man. Hopefully we'll catch you next week or maybe this afternoon. But if not, hopefully we'll catch you next week. In terms of pound yen shorts, like I said, not really something I'm taking to right now. Yes, we're at resistance, so 100%. I think shorts make sense there. But I would be quite cautious because I do think a breakout is likely. I think yen is still likely to be quite weak. So if you do get short here, I think you just have to play it from like a candle to candle basis in terms of just keep a very close eye on the trade. We are starting to reject. Maybe if you can see a strong close beyond that, that could be a nice entry signal to say that, okay, momentum shifted. And then, yeah, see how price goes. Maybe it does turn into a big swing back into lows here. Or maybe it's just a small reaction for us to later go and break through. Of course, it's hard to tell. But yes, it's a smart place for a short or back at resistance. I do think price eventually is likely to break through. So that's the reason why I'm not looking to short. I do think price is probably likely to push back into the highs here. I'm looking at the yen basket. And that looks like it's likely to keep falling back into the low here at 61.25. So if the yen basket is likely to keep falling, then that means, yeah, pound yen is likely to keep rising. So shorts is not really my forte, but it depends on the time scale you're looking at. You know, we might not see a huge move for pound yen to the downside, but you might not be looking for a huge move. You might just be looking for a few candles. You might be looking for just a move for a few hours and that's you done for the trade. So if that's the case, then I can see the logic there. Your price is testing some major resistance. You know, price could sell off into any one of these areas here. It's depending on how many pips you're looking for, what your kind of risk rewards you're looking for. It might be enough, but my advice is just, if you are looking for a big swing, you know, keep a close eye, because I do think the bigger move is to the upside. I could be wrong, of course, but I'm going to stick with that analysis until proven otherwise. But yeah, just see how price is moving. If we're seeing sustained momentum in your favor and structure's looking good, then of course hold the trade. Maybe you're going to end up smashing into these lows. If, however, we start pushing down, but start looking to struggle, start forming support, maybe break into the upside like this, then of course that's a sign that, okay, maybe price isn't going to get there anymore. And that could be a sign to maybe lock in some gains, trade a stop loss to break even, close the trade altogether if you want, however you want to manage it. But if something like this starts forming, we probably are going to push back to resistance here. And of course, all your floating profits will probably disappear there. So some type of management would make sense, even if it is just moving stops to break even there. But yeah, I think in terms of location, makes sense. Definitely a nice place for a short, but I'm not looking for anything too crazy. Okay, 15-minute chart. I mean, same logic applies there. You got a really nice trend line, which price is respecting pretty well. I would say in terms of entries, again, a strong break to the downside makes a lot of sense. Momentum's in your favor there as well. And the same situation applies here on the 15. See how the momentum continues. If there's some red flags, we start breaking consolidation to the upside or put some double bottoms in. Yeah, that's something to be cautious of. Doesn't mean just exit the trade straight away, but be prepared to maybe lock in some gains or monitor that a bit closely. If momentum starts picking up against you, maybe it's time to call it a day. And on the flip side, if price is showing a lot of strength to the downside, maybe get a nice big run in your favor, nice little pullback, price continues, retest structures, showing signs of continuing, then of course hold the position and maybe see if we can push back to the lows there. We are trading off strong resistance. I can see the logic with the shorts there, but I'm just not expecting a big move. So that's why I'm stressing about managing the position, because I don't think there's going to be a big move there to the downside. Could be wrong, of course. I can't see into the future, but I do expect a likely break to the upside. So I'll be cautious with that. Any natural gas? Okay, we can take a look at that. Yusuf, okay, take care, my man. We'll catch you later. Okay, if I miss it, have a good weekend. Okay, take care, man. have a good weekend as well. Okay, natural gas. I've got that saved over here. It's not a pair which I look at in my personal time, but surprising, quite a lot of people do ask for it, so I do keep tabs on it. But yeah, natural gas. This one's been interesting. Quite flat. I've been favouring us to get back into the lows over here, but we've been taking our sweet time. Let me look at the higher time frames quickly. Dang, we are very flat here. Anyway, I do think we may continue higher, but I do think price has still got a good chance of pushing into the low here, because this is a pretty big level of resistance, turn support, which if the trend is going to continue higher, then that's kind of where I expect it to happen from. And of course, if the price is going to sell off, then I'm looking at a high forming, then a continuation lower. But yeah, looking at natural gas, I'm looking at this as somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. Got the left shoulder over there, you got the head over there, you got the right shoulder over there. Now I'm expecting a push back into the lows here again. And this has proven to be a very solid level of resistance. Price spiked through that. We didn't quite come back for a retest. I remember last time we looked at natural gas, I said keep an eye on a couple of areas. I said keep an eye on this area and keep an eye on this area, which looks like price is pushing into now. I would also suggest keep an eye on the resistance above us as well. But I would have a pretty bearish bias for natural gas, because the idea is I'm looking for a lower high for continuation. Now that, of course, we haven't respected that, so we've kind of broken out of this bearish channel here. But I'm also looking at a pullback of this move here. So now that we're coming back into this area of supply or that resistance, these are the two areas which I like the look of for a short. And in terms of risk to rewards, in terms of a swing trade, I think could be looking at a very nice opportunity back into these lows here. So pretty bearish here on natural gas, looking at essentially a pullback of that bearish move. Looking at this move here as a big fake of the highs there. And now I'm looking for a lower high for a continuation to the support and probably back into that low there as well. So I quite like how we're pulling back. It's quite corrective. It's not like we're seeing really aggressive momentum. It's more like a slow grind to the upside, which implies it's likely a pullback for us to continue falling. But in terms of area of interest, this area here, nice brief pause there in the market, strong push down. So that's a nice area of supply. And of course, you've got a solid level of resistance there, which kind of fits the mold of a head and shoulder pattern. Left, head, right shoulder. Still a very smart play for a short. And you got a pretty good risk reward back into the lows there as well. So I quite like the look of natural gas at those areas. Because essentially this market is a range. You know, we are very, very flat with natural gas. So you want to be shorting as high as possible. And if it does play out, you're looking at a swing back to the low end of the range, really. So looking to sell high, essentially with the expectation that we are probably going to push into this low eventually. So that's the plan there with NAS. FX Guru, one message will do, my man. Do not spam the chat, please. There are other people here besides yourself. Again, if you do put a chat in and I don't get to it, then you can always request it again later, but please do not spam the chat. Okay, I'll take a look at pound USD for you. So in terms of pound, I'm actually quite liking the pair. I do think there's a big move to be had with this one, and I like the looks of a big move back into 1.32, 325 you can call it. I do think there's a big move to be had back into this area. But first things first, I do need to see a bit of a pullback, which hopefully we are in the process of seeing. Now, price has come back into a big area of support, area of demand. Same thing kind of in this area, strong push to the upside, creating new highs. A big powerful move from this area. Now, price is of course there again. So I do think there's more downside to be had for pound USD. I like the looks of 1.355, brief area of consolidation. Did see a nice push down, so there is some meaningful bearish pressure there in the market, and I would say keep an eye on this area. I think that's a really nice place for a short. 1.355 is kind of where my area of interest lies. Maybe even slightly bigger push to retest the resistance here. Could end up forming a nice head and shoulder pattern, potentially a push into that area than a short. But to me, this is possibly an area where we form that first lower high, because I'm looking at pound USD on the higher time frames. We're slowing down, we're looking more corrective now, and I do think price can likely break lower. We've taken out these highs here to our left, which is how stretched the market is. And since that has happened, we've looked very corrective. So I do feel like price is likely to push lower. So pound USD, I do have a short bias. It is going to rely on strength from the dollar, so I'm going to keep a close eye on that happening. At the moment, we are respecting support. There might be some nice buys off that low there. But I do think the bigger move for pound is likely a push lower. So I'm being patient for that. Like I said, that area there is my area of interest. I'll monitor price, how we get there, and how we react with that area. If things look good, I will take some shorts. But yeah, got to keep a close eye on the dollar as well. I kind of want to see dollar break the highs here too. This was the last lower high there for the dollar. Gave us a pretty meaningful move to the downside. If we can break through that as well, that'll show us, okay, USD strength is really, really here to stay, and we're probably going to see a continued move to the upside. So if we can see a bit more strength there for the DXY, it would increase the probability of pound USD shorts playing out. At the moment, support is holding, might see a bit of relief, but I do expect the bigger move to be to the downside. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound at the minute. What's up, Paz? Foreign exchange. Hope you are doing good. Welcome. If you guys are interested in checking out an AI-powered signal service, it's a project we've launched recently. Zenthrix AI. It's a pretty big project surrounding traders using AI tools to help improve and level up their trading. So it includes a wide range of different aspects, like trading using AI to develop automated trading bots, looking at developing your own strategies, looking at developing custom indicators. It's a platform where you can trade from, and we're looking at different areas, trading different markets as well, and crypto as well, and potentially trading on-chain as well. And we have a lot of ideas around that, which we're looking to launch very, very soon. But at the moment, to celebrate the launch, the AI power signals, which we do offer, which will be a paid service later on. But at the moment, we are offering that free to the next 100 people that do sign up. I'll post the link to that in the chat if you're interested to experiment with the signals, see how they work. There's a bunch of signals across different markets, different timeframes as well. So it could be a situation where you kind of pick and choose which signals look the best to you, and you go from there. Or if you want to trade all the signals, you can do that as well. But if you're looking for even just ideas of what to trade and what opportunities to look at, you can check out that Telegram group. The link to that will take you to the Signal group, where you can follow along and see what opportunities there are about. So if you're interested, go check it out. Completely free to join at the moment. Forex Guru, close my position at current price for pound USD long position. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, nice bounce off the low there. I think nice trade. I assume you bought off the low here, coming from the support there. So I think the logic's there in terms of the reason for buying. I assume it's probably hit your target or something in terms of why you closed the position. But yeah, I mean, nice position there. I do like the sales longer term, so I'm waiting to see if I can get some shorts around these areas. Of course, still a long way away. You need to see how price gets, then how we develop. I do like the look of this longer term, so That's kind of where I'm waiting to see if price can get to, but a lot has to happen. It's of course not going to probably get there before the end of the week, so it's more an opportunity for next week. But as we are coming to Friday, I'm going to start to pay a bit more attention to see how the weekly candles do close, and that will start help formulate my bias for the new week. I haven't seen a lot of momentum this week. Maybe the yen pairs have seen a bit more of a move, but USD wise, I don't think we've really seen much. You can see this week's price action there for pound, nothing special. Euro USD, nothing special there as well. Let me remove the drawings. Nothing special. Dollar CAD, that's been quite corrective this week. Yeah, almost a doji there. DXY, if you take a look at that one on the week, yep, very small candle. So USD wise, not much has happened this week. I think maybe Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar have had a bit more of a impactful week. I mean, we did, but we've ended up pulling back before the week's close. So even those are not looking too substantial. New Zealand dollar, again, bit of a weight to the downside, but not much there. So USD, not a lot to report on this week. Yen pairs, however, a bit more upside for them. Actually, maybe not anything crazy. I mean, Euro yen still pushing up. It did gap slightly to the downside, but so many consecutive bullish weeks there. Pound yen, not much in fairness. That's still stuck at resistance. Bullish on the week, yes, but nothing too crazy. CAD yen, we've seen some upside for that one. Nothing too crazy though, but yeah, in general, the week hasn't done anything too crazy, to be honest. Gold, that's been flat, hasn't it? So not a lot to take into next week from the weekly chart. Sometimes the weekly candlesticks can give you a lot of information in terms of what the next week could bring, especially if price is rejecting some big levels of resistance or levels of support, or you're seeing a lot of momentum or a lot of wicks. Anything that can kind of mean that price is likely to be bearish or bullish the next week or the next candle. That could be a nice kind of confluence to your trading. If you have a bullish bias already and you're seeing the weekly time frame, the previous weekly candlestick back that up, gives you a bit more confidence to get into that trade. But I'm not seeing any kind of confluence or ideas here from the weekly candlesticks. If I look at some of the crosses, I mean, they've been pretty flat. Haven't had really any big moves recently. Well, at least this week anyway. Of course, we had CPI that was like one push on Tuesday, and nothing's happened since then. Euro Aussie, not much. Pound Aussie, not much there as well. That was pretty bearish last week, but this week's pretty flat. CHF pairs, not much either. Euro CHF, pretty flat. So yeah, not a lot to report on this week in terms of big change in price action or shift in trends or anything. I think DXY is showing signs that we potentially could shift in trend. Like I said, with that break of the descending channel. So that's kind of what I'm going to keep an eye on as we progress into next week, because that's really what my bullish bias is going to be built upon. If we are going to see that rally pull back and a continuation, then that's what I'm really going to bank on in terms of if I'm going to keep looking to short euro, short pound, maybe buy dollar CHF. But if we stay flat or break lower, I'm probably going to back away and just let price do its thing. Because at that point, the likeliness of price continuing is probably not as high as I want it to be at that stage. So dollar's what I'm going to keep an eye on. Nothing's really shot up for me this week. Silver is probably the closest one. I really do like silver, but it kind of just missed my level. Not by the biggest of margins. So if that pulled back a little bit deeper, then hopefully I could have bought silver. Still keep an eye on silver going into next week, just hoping we can see another big pullback and then take some buys, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe gold does shape up for something. But guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I will be live again with, well, I'm not with Trading. I think he's away, but I'll be on his channel later today. So if you do want to see more of my analysis, see how we're looking coming into the New York session as well, you can find me on his channel in about an hour from now, actually. So if you're free, then pop in, go check out his channel. If not, I'll be live again next week, same time as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So I'll see you guys on Monday. As always, I post my analysis on the weekend, so we'll take a look at what's happened this week. Not much, but we'll try and forecast next week, see what pairs are looking good going into the upcoming week. and share some ideas as well. So guys, if you have enjoyed the stream, please be sure to drop a like before you do leave. It does really help out. I do really appreciate it. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Check out the Signal group if you are interested. I'll drop a link to that in the chat. But have a good day, guys. If I don't see you later today, hopefully have a good weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.